people starts to fray. All we can turn to are the people we care about. But what if those people weren't who we thought they were?
What if?
When I heard about the Secret Invasion show, I gotta be honest, I wasn't exactly over the moon about it, and a lot of people, just whispers on the wind, were saying how perturbed it made them feel, but I was willing to give it a shot, because it does center around Nick Fury. Granted, this is a character I really don't know that much about, but from the little I've seen of him, I actually do like him, and I absolutely love Samuel Jackson as an actor. I think he is supremely talented, so I was willing to give it a shot. Immediately, it didn't seem like something I was interested in, because it had this CSI feel to it. There's one thing that did grab my interest.
Aliens.
These beings called the Skrulls, and I have to admit, because they're aliens, I'm a little bit intrigued as to how they're gonna play a part on Earth. And last time we heard, and please forgive me, because when it comes to Marvel and the mess of the whole multiverse thing, there are a lot of things that just escape my mind, maybe because I'm stupid and everything gets blended together because I watch so many movies. But from what I understood, they're pretty much on our side now. The Skrulls are these shape-shifting aliens who can basically change the shape of their face to fit the appearance of many different species, which makes them rather good at infiltrating.
Track the pod to find the girl. She knows more than she knows.
In the movie Captain Marvel, the Skrulls are initially portrayed as the villains, but it turns out they're at war with another alien race, the Kree, and basically us Earthlings just get caught in the crossfire of this. Then, of course, it's revealed that they're actually not the aggressors or the bad guys. They're refugees fleeing from the Kree Empire's genocidal campaign against them. And the only reason they were so aggressive and malignant is because they were desperate to find a new home and couldn't help themselves. So they had to commit those crimes in order to survive. The Skrulls were led by Talos, the guy played by Ben Mendelsohn. By the end of the movie, since the Skrull are shown to be good, well, Captain Marvel helps them.
That's a flirkin'. Oh, mother flirkin'!
You okay?
Yeah, it's just a scratch. No.
It turns out, though, that in the broader context of the Marvel Comics, the Skrulls have often been seen as the villains, and that's kind of what happens in Secret Invasion storyline. There are still good Skrulls, but then there are the Skrull imposters. They're going about taking the shapes of influential and important people so that they can infiltrate Earth and basically make Earth blow itself up because they feed on radiation, or not so feed on radiation, but they can live in radioactive terrain. So I found it was very interesting that in the show, they have these abandoned radioactive plants where nobody lives, nobody can inhabit, except the Skrulls, because radiation doesn't affect them. The basic summary of episode 1 is that this guy, Sherlock Holmes' friend, meets with another guy called Agent Prescott. Prescott is losing his mind because he says that all the terrorist occurrences are linked, thinks that it's escalating to a global terrorist strike, and this is all orchestrated by the Skrulls, the shapeshifters who arrived on Earth 30 years ago. As he's telling Fargo dude here about this, he doesn't believe him, which leads us to believe that he might be one of the Skrulls. He doesn't believe it because, as far as he knows, based on what Nick Fury says, regardless if there's thousands of Skrulls living among them, they're friends. Because, you know, it's impossible for a race of beings to have individualism and there to be some of the group who don't all agree with the same thing or agree with what all the others agree with. So, I mean, nobody thought about that. Prescott thinks he can only trust Ross, which leads us and Prescott to also get paranoid and think that he's one of the shapeshifters. Unfortunately, he ends up killing him, and then he is chased down the street of Moscow, which apparently is a very dangerous place, especially at night. A bunch of parkour happens, which is partly CGI and partly obviously not the actors doing it. And our suspicions were right, because the good guy, Skrull, shows that he was chasing our Sherlock Holmes friend because he actually was a Skrull. One that Talos points out is different. Then we get a freaking Mid-Journey AI intro, which is very weird, but I can understand why they're using it. I guess it's trendy to use it or something, or they really are trying to cut corners with their costs. I mean, they're releasing music videos with this now too. And while I don't exactly mind it, because all of this falls under Disney, it has me laughing because I'm wondering if they're doing this because they're really freaking hurting for money, or are they trying to, in a clandestine type of roundabout way, tell artists or threaten them that we're not going to need you much longer if you keep striking and shit. I don't know. There's a lot of politics that go on with the freaking movie world world and with everything around us involving Alita, so you never know. Anyway, after the disconcerting nightmare fuel of an intro passes by, we get somebody touching down on Earth, and it's meant to look like it's an alien doing it. That doesn't escape me. It looks like something from Out of the Stars. So now you're thinking, is he a Skrull? That's the first thing that popped into my mind. It's Nick Fury, but is he actually Nick Fury? Throughout the entirety of the episode, we have people telling Nick Fury he's not the same, he's not the man he once was, blah, blah, blah. And it took getting through 75% of the episode for me to remember that Nick Fury was one of those that was erased by the blip. It makes sense that he would have a bit of PTSD because he seems to be reliving that moment right before he called Captain Marvel for help. Well, this guy, who's Gravik, is the leader of the operation of Skrulls against the humans. I'm guessing these specific Skrull want to take Earth for themselves, because from what I gather, they don't have a home any longer, so they're trying to find a new home, I guess? And why not Earth, am I right? Daenerys Targaryen, Gaia, who's apparently Talos' daughter, she has a change of heart after learning that her mother is dead. I don't know who her mom is. Like I said, some of these characters just went completely over my head and I forgot. And she decides to help her father. She tells him where the next attack is going to be and how it's going to happen. And I already can see from a mile away that the people who she's working with probably don't trust her, and they're probably going to assume that she's going to turn face. So Miss Hill and old Nick Fury here, who everyone keeps telling is not prepared for what's coming next, end up chasing these two guys with the bags. Ones that Daenerys Targaryen marked with an X that nobody else can see. Meanwhile, Nick Fury chases down a Skrull that keeps shapeshifting that obviously wants him to follow. We learn that it's Gravik, and he's like, gotcha, sucker, surprise. And the strike happens again, because nobody saw that coming from a freaking mile away. As Miss Hill is helping up people, Nick Fury comes to her, and I already knew something's gonna happen. She gets shot by him, and it turns out it's not actually him, it's actually Gravik. And Nick Fury's like, bro, you did not just, whatever, my friend. And he's like, yeah, may not seem like nothing to y'all, understand nothing was done for me, so I don't plan on stopping at all. I want the ship forever, ever, and whatever, blah, 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 because that's exactly what it looks like he's saying. While Hill lays lying dead on the floor, oh boo-hoo. So here's what I gotta say about this episode. I know a lot of people hate it, but I honestly can't say I did. I mean, is it the best thing ever? Is it my type of show? No, it's not. But was it like the worst thing ever? No, it's actually quite intriguing. The only thing that I find an issue with is it's not really my type of show. It's very detective, CSI, Watchmen type thing. I do like the sci-fi aspect. I do like the politics aspect of these aliens who are now divided amongst themselves because there are those who want to befriend humans and there are others who think that humans can go suck their moms. That sounds really disgusting, sorry. Overall, the episode wasn't bad. I don't know, I can't speak to the show overall, but I think it was well acted, the first episode, and it was like any other action movie that you'd watch. Maybe it's good they made it into a show instead of a movie, because I can imagine a lot of things would have to be covered here that they would completely skip over in the movie, and that's fine. And yes, Samuel Jackson does help, but everybody else does a good job with it too. And I wasn't particularly interested in a lot of the characters, except for this character right here that just came out of nowhere, and Khaleesi's character, just because she's Khaleesi, even though she looks way older in this, probably because of the makeup. Half the time, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just I'm used to seeing her a certain way, but it looks like her face is straight up melting off her face. See what I mean? It also feels like, and this is probably just a testament to me not having watched other shows, but they keep bringing up this thing called Saber. Was that a TV show as well? I don't know. They keep on referring to it. It might have been mentioned in the MCU, but there are a lot of references that just go over my head that makes me feel as though there's a portion of some kind of information that I'm missing that I had needed to have watched to get it in its completion or its entirety in this show. That's just how I feel. That's the presentation of it anyway, or how it came across. Other than that, it's really not that bad. Now, as for the emasculation of Nick Fury, I can understand where this is coming from. I don't really see it as, oh my god, they're trying to make him look bad because he's a dude. I don't think that's what's happening. Granted, the studio does have a bad habit of doing that with its male characters. However, for Nick Fury, I think we can excuse this because he did come back from a very traumatic situation, and it's not just him. Every character that has come back from the blip, their life has changed substantially. Like, it's not like they can just disappear for 5 years and come back and everything's exactly the same and they are who they were. Now, as far as he's concerned, the world that he knew is left behind. He has come back into a world he no longer knows anything about. He is like a fish out of water now because people evolve, and 5 years is a long time for a guy like him to be out of the loop. Maybe I'm missing something. Please forgive me if I'm wrong. Like I said, I'm stupid when it comes to this kind of stuff, but I think we can excuse him being a little unsure of himself, but still also being cocky because he knows what he knows, except that 5 years have gone by and he doesn't really know as much as he thought he did. I don't see him as some broken down loser. I see him still as very wily and trying to deal with the cards he's dealt. I don't see him as unredeemable. This is the first episode, so I'm guessing that at some point later on, he is going to come back in full force and evolve and adapt to the situation that is unfolding before him. It's what makes him relatable as a character, and I think it's unfair for us to come out and say that characters like Captain Marvel are disgusting because they come out the bat being just badass and nobody can relate to them because they're cocky and there's no reason for us to root for them. But then they do have a character like that we can relate to because now he's unsure of himself and he is trying to navigate this new world before him, and we're having to go along his journey with him to have him discover how to adapt to these changing situations or this card he's been dealt, and then we're bitching about that too. So it's like, which do we want? But then again, that might not be the case for what other people are complaining about. So I would like to know what you guys think about this show. Like, in all honesty, what do you find as an issue with it? Like I said, my biggest issue, it's not really my type of show. I'm not gung-ho to watch this. I more so would prefer watching something like From. But yeah, that's just me. Let me know in the comments what you think. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.